Yes, that's right. Here we are. It's the hottest couple, period. I'm Rob Cesternino. Here's Stephen Fishbach. How are you?
I'm great, Rob. How are you? Now, I got to warn you before we start this podcast.
Whoa, disclaimer. We have a disclaimer.
Disclaimer. About 15 minutes ago, I placed an order with my local Chinese food company, Red Bull Chinese. Typically, they're very fast. It's a rainy night in New York.
Is this a paid product placement?
Yeah, Red Bull. Well, not really, because they haven't arrived yet.
Oh.
So I might, at any point in time, I'm going to have to leap up to get my Chinese food. I ordered dumplings and basil chicken.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You ate all the food in your house.
Yeah, I've got more
some sort of advantage.
Yes.
And now you want more food.
Yeah.
And that invoice needs to get paid, Stephen.
Well, I've got some money. I think it's gonna be about $20. So that invoice will be paid. All right. With about $20.
Well, we're gonna send a man over there, and he'll speak with you. But there's gonna be a price.
Yeah. And I'm getting some rice. I am getting some rice. So I will. It's a thematic meal for me here at the Fishbach household.
Crispy rice?
No.
Okay.
No crispy. I don't care that much about the crispy.
All right. Well, we are live here on a Wednesday night. Survivor Know-It-Alls. Very excited to be here with you, Stephen Fishbach, and with all of you guys who are watching us live, and also those of you guys who are listening in the archives. We love you guys, too. We're very excited. We've got a very exciting episode to talk about. We've got some tribe swapping going on, some interesting strategy as well. It was 3 couples and 1 Keith tonight, and they ended up going in a interesting way, which actually surprised me tonight. Did you
surprise vote? No, I thought, for sure it was going to be Dale or Missy, Kelley, totally surprise. It came out of nowhere. Really excited to talk through this with you, Rob, and break it down, because I'm still wrapping my head around this episode, and I'm still wrapping my head around who I'm going to give the fishy to.
Okay, good. So we'll talk that through. Okay, we just want to set up that we are, of course, live and interactive here with you guys after Survivor, like we do every week, Wednesday, 9:15-ish p.m. And here we are. We got our chat room going here on robhasawebsite.com. We got our Twitter open. Scott St. Pierre is monitoring Twitter. That hashtag RHAP. And, of course, on our YouTube channel at robhasawebsite.com/YouTube. Get those questions in early, because that Chinese delivery man could ring Stephen Fishbach's doorbell.
No. Yeah. What is, Rob's going to answer some questions while I'm, paying the price, paying the invoice.
Yes. Okay. Will you give us your fortune during the podcast tonight?
I don't know. I didn't order any cookies.
Nobody orders cookies. They just come with the Chinese food.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. We'll see if there's a cookie.
What kind of ripoff is Red Bull running over there?
This is a low. This is Williamsburg. We're all like low carb.
Low carb. They don't even give you the cookie. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. So anyway, very very excited to talk about that big tomorrow. First, of course, we'll talk to the ultimate strategic threat in the game, the #1 threat out there, according to Drew. She is the latest person to go home. We'll talk with Kelley tomorrow about what's it like having your dad totally blow your Survivor game.
Yeah, and Kelley really, though, like every tribe she was on, she was like this target in this way that we as the viewer didn't understand, right? Even in the old Hunapu, she was somehow a target. So very curious to hear what Kelley has to say about why everyone wanted to get rid of her.
And then, of course, we'll do our big Survivor interview podcast. We'll be talking with your friend and mine, the Dragon Slayer.
No, Coach. Yeah. What dynamic aerobic activity will he be performing while he does the podcast?
Hopefully none, but he's very pumped up. I hear there's a hashtag media frenzy of excitement waiting for Coach to return to Rob Has a Podcast. And then we will be taking your voicemails with give it up for Mr. Mike Bloom.
Oh, the Survivor historian.
Yes, we'll talk with him later on as well on the Thursday show. Get your voicemails in robhasawebsite.com/voicemail. Also, 323-282-RHAP is your voicemail hotline. Okay, let's talk about this, Stephen. And I want to start with why Kelley over Dale. I didn't get this. There was all this talk. Mama Bear, Muffin Bear. She's coming after Dale, and she's pissed. Why would you come after my baby? And instead, they go after Kelley. Explain.
So let's set this up, right? We've got a tribe, and there's 3 couples. We got John and Jacqueline, we got Dale and Kelley, and we have Baylor and Muffin. And then as a floater, we have Keith off to the side. So Keith is kind of nervous momentarily that maybe as the one single they'll gang up on him, but we as viewers, we as seasoned Survivor watchers know that that's never going to happen, that he is less threatening, and the couples are going to want to break up one of the other couples. So immediately this rivalry starts between Muffin and between Dale. And it looks like it's over rice, and rice is a big theme of this episode. We got to talk more about rice, but for some it looked like it was going to be the votes were going to go between maybe it was going to be Baylor, maybe it was going to be Missy, and maybe it was going to be Dale. But the prospect of Kelley never was raised. So why Kelley and not Dale? Maybe Dale is less threatening. The swap has happened. You're trying to vote off more threatening players. You're not as worried about team strength. Maybe Kelley's a strong, athletic girl. She's strategic, allegedly. Like everyone keeps saying that. She's never missed an episode. That's dangerous.
She never missed an episode. It's also odd that Muffin, she voted with Kelley last week, that they were part of all of the women that came together with Jeremy. So you would feel like, if anything, that they would be on the same side of the fence, and that she would feel like, hey, Dale, I can't work with him. Dale is
I've got Rob. The Chinese is here.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and let's take some questions here as Stephen Fishbach pays the Chinese food delivery man for his dinner. And so let's go ahead and patch in a couple of questions here while we're waiting for Stephen Fishbach, or maybe let's see if we could listen in at some point. No, okay. It doesn't sound like it's too loud over there. If we really hear something good, I will definitely give it its moment, and we will we will slow things down and listen to Stephen Fishbach pay the Chinese food delivery man. Okay, let's go ahead and let's take a question. Nick 2S is back. Nick 2S wants to say, was it really the handling of the food that was the reason why one tribe dominated the immunity challenges? Well, that's something that I'm going to want to talk about here later on with Stephen as we get into it. So let's come back to that question, Nick, to us, because I think it's part of a bigger conversation. Reality Compner, did John and Jacqueline make the right choice going with the known traitor and Muffin the mama bear? Well, I think there's so many different sides of this. First off, why did Kelley be the person who was going to get voted off? And to me, I didn't really see the sense to get rid of Kelley, because as I was saying before the Chinese food delivery man came, that I feel like that for Baylor and for Missy, I feel like they could go ahead and work with Kelley going forward. But Dale is somebody who is, for a grown man, and we know that he is, Farm Guy 69, that you would think that the grown-up would be able to put aside the differences to Baylor. Like it should be, I think that's his job to come to Baylor and say, you know what, Baylor, you and I, we didn't get along. That's on me. I've got to sort of patch things up with you. Let me just apologize to him. But it seemed like he was set in his ways just as much as Baylor was. And if anything, it seemed like Baylor was almost the one that was more mature about the way she was handling it over Dale. Stephen, did you catch any of that?
No, I couldn't hear a single thing. The headphones were out. I got
Understand. Let me just to summarize that, it felt like to me, I'm not sure why Dale, as the older statesman in the group, why was he? It seemed like he was just as immature about the beef with Baylor as Baylor was. He
seemed like more immature. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was just as much, at least from the episode that we saw, just as much, vindictiveness. Now, my question was, maybe you just talked about this, from the John and Jacqueline perspective, right? Jacqueline, Baylor was voted against Jacqueline's alliance, right? She voted Val out. She was with the guys. Jacqueline has a quote where she says she doesn't trust Baylor. From John's perspective, he was never with oh my God, I just had Yeah, exactly. They were never together. So it's like, why the way that this vote happened seemed very much antithetical to what you'd expect based on the previous tribe dynamics for the last 4 episodes.
Now, do you think there's anything to this? Maybe I'm watching like too many action movies, but do you think that there was a sort of a thing where, you have this scene where it's like you go into a house and it's like, a guy and his kid or his wife, and it's like, all right, let's put your hands up, you two. All right, so I'm taking somebody. I'm taking a hostage. It's like, okay, take me. take me, don't take my kid. And it's like then they shoot the person that you say that you're trying to protect. Did they try to hurt Dale? Did they try to be punitive to Dale and say, you know what? You tried to vote out my daughter. Let's see how you like it, Dale. How does that taste? I just voted out your daughter, and now you have to live with that. That because of you, your daughter got voted out.
Wow, and yeah, and Kelley, you know, in the farewell confessional said, you know, I hate my dad, basically. No, she said that. Yeah, she said that she wished she had never played with her dad, which is a very like daughter thing to say, right? Like, I wish you weren't my dad. I don't know.
I wish you were never my tribe mate, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that, to be honest. That seems like weird and cruel, and even, you know, beyond even the vindictiveness of Muffin. And you know, John is a noble, sainted human, right? All of his confessionals are about his struggles. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I honestly think
explain it.
Okay, I think that it was, you know, you saw it was the vote was against the pair of Dale and Kelley. And between those two, you know, Dale is less of a threat, right? He's an older guy. He's not going to win challenges. Maybe he's seen as like less likely to, you know, flirt his way to the top. As like there's this, you know, always this fear that girls are going to flirt their way to the top. And I guess everyone thinks Kelley is super strategic, right? We saw it on Hunapu, and we're seeing it here. So I think that like you have these two people who have never missed an episode. One is maybe more physically fit. One maybe is more strategic. The other is, you know, more crotchety and less of a threat. I think you know, in this example, you would vote out the more threatening one. And the other thing is, you know, the danger at this point in the game after the swap is that you know that whoever stays is going to be against you, right? You know that whether it's you keep Dale or you keep Kelley, that person will not forgive you for voting out their loved one and betraying them in this situation. So you really want to keep the less threatening person, the person who's going to have fewer allies on the other side, the person who you'll be able to more easily get rid of later in the game.
You know, it's funny because I don't remember this happening so much in the original Survivor Blood versus Water. But it seems like that this time around, it's almost like the first Blood versus Water, there was a little bit like, okay, it's just business, right? And correct me if I'm forgetting anybody, but I don't feel like there was so much of this person got voted out and now I'm coming for you, you voted out my loved one.
Right. It was weird. The way that it worked out, though, was a lot of the, you know, the people who were blamed for voting out loved ones were voted out like before there was that opportunity to be vindictive, right? Like Brad Culpepper was kind of seen as the person who was voted out all the loved ones, then he was voted out in turn. You know, there just wasn't that level, and you're probably right that there's a level of sort of professionalism with the returning players where they do see it more as a game, right, than as a life event. But there also, it didn't seem like there, you know, except for that, you know, Sierra Laura moment, there didn't seem to be a lot of pairs who were together who, you know, when they were picked off, you know, when Katie or when Tina was picked off, you know, there was nothing, the loved one was already at the bottom, you know, they were just sent home next.
Okay.
So like Vetus went home right after Aris, and then Katie went home right after Tina. So yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to be really interesting to watch the fallout that happens next week after the you voted out my loved one, and now I'm going to go off on you. There was actually a lot of this that happened in the Survivor The Walking Dead, actually, as well. That was also a Blood versus Water season.
What?
That's a fake Survivor season that Josh Wigler and I podcast about on Monday.
Oh, I love Wigler. I had lunch with him.
It's on robinthewebsite.com.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. But there was a lot of that. There was a lot of you voted on my loved one. Now I'm mad at you. Okay.
So I think that, like, you know, it's likely that Dale's gone next, right? Like that's the rule. Like that's what we were assuming. Like the new Coyopa tribe is completely underpowered.
Yeah.
And then plus the new Hunapu is going to have all this new food they're going to get. So what do you think, Rob? What's the trade going to be?
Okay. Well, let's talk about the other side of this thing. So first off, before we even get to the trade, what do you think of this? Because my idea on Survivor is like I almost feel like that that Drew, who's basically a badass, I think he has the right idea here. I think the move is within reason. When you're on Survivor and you have rice, eat as much as you can.
Wait, no, not Drew. Wait, Drew?
Drew, the guy who got voted out last week. He's basically a badass. He was running the game, and they voted him out. And so apparently him and John just ate like there was no tomorrow in the game. And, you know, I think that his strategy warranted itself out because he ate as much as he could while he was there. He was voted out of the game. And I don't think he has any complaints about that. But for the people the people who were the rice rationers.
Right, they all lost.
The Joshes of the world, the Wesses of the world, all the people that were rationing their rice, then they come to a tribe that has no rice.
Right.
I think that, seize the day, carpe diem when you have the rice. When you have it, enjoy it, eat it. You have no guarantee that you'll be there tomorrow. You have no guarantee that you won't be on the other tribe tomorrow. So when you have it, eat it. At the end of the day, if you don't eat it, and then, somebody else is eating it, you didn't eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, and we saw, right, the fact that Hunapu kept winning, had to at least partially be determined by the fact, the fact that they were eating much more than the other tribes. So, maybe it didn't work out for Drew, but it did work out for every single other Hunapu person who wasn't voted out because they were eating so much, right? There were 3 Coyopas who went home because they weren't eating as much. Like, I'm sure those people would have, A, rather had more rice, and B, rather be in the game and have a shot to win $1 million than be really careful and ration their food. I agree with you, Rob. It's the Tyson Apostle wrecking ball strategy. Eat as much as you possibly can. Who cares like what the cost is? Who cares that Jeff says, no more, we're going to burn down your shelter in exchange for a bag of rice. It doesn't matter because everyone is suffering equally with you, and if you eat more rice, you're longer in the game. Go through it.
Yeah. And this was a battle which I had a minor conversation with the Survivor champion of Survivor All-Stars, Amber and Alicia and Boston Rob. They're like, we got to ration it 39 days in Australia. We had to trade our tarp for rice. I'm like, but if we should just eat it because we have it, and there could be a swap. We might not even be here. I could get voted out tomorrow.
And you were.
Yes, and I was.
Yeah.
No, but I did not force the issue like Dale. Like, I mean, what sense does it make for Mr. Rice Ration Dale of like, we got to make this rice last 39 days? Are you guys crazy? When I was a kid, we had a teaspoon of rice. He liked it. And so he's not going to be there 39 days. What does he care about how much rice they eat?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and no matter what, you don't want to be the one who's the nudge. I think there are very good ways to silently nudge. You don't want to do the confrontational. You want to go behind someone's back and be like, hey, you see how much Missy ate? That's fucked up. But sorry about that. Sorry about the swear. But that's the move. That's I was in the game for a moment.
Okay.
Where it was not family friendly. Yeah.
I'll tell you the other thing. You could ration your rice all you want, and then Jatia comes out and
burns it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a perfect reenactment of that.
You can't get it if it's in your stomach, Steven.
I was back in the moment as well.
All right. What's the trade? What's the trade-off?
Well, it's got to be shelter, right? Like, what is the thing that would matter to them as much as a bag of rice? I think they have to give up the shelter.
Somebody tweeted this, and I think it's good. Okay, what if the deal is, all right, I got this big bag of rice here. I got brown rice. I got white rice.
Right.
I've got Rice Krispie treats. I've got it all right here in my bag. But you're going to tribal.
I thought actually that was my first thought when he said that, was that they were going to immediately be forced to go to tribal. That would make the most sense, right? Because they got immunity with food. The real trade-off would be that now you have to vote someone out to pay that debt. So that would actually make maybe more sense, because it's kind of weird. Maybe that makes more sense than the shelter, because it would be weird for production to come in and destroy a shelter, but it would be natural for them to come in and say, you ate a lot, and so you want immunity. Now you've got to pay that debt. You have to vote someone out.
Mm-hmm. Would they do it? Would you do it?
Well, if I was on the winning side, if I thought I would.
I mean, unless you have Bill Posley on your tribe. I mean, it's okay. Let's take a vote. Who's in favor of this? If 4 people all say yes, and you're one of the people who says no, whoa.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Well, but that's the problem. Because everyone, if you think you might have the numbers, you don't want to be the one to say no, because you're worried you're going to attract the wrath of the tribe. So if you're kind of a little bit divorced from the way the numbers are going, and everyone's yeah, I'm going to do it, you're going to maybe be convinced that you better go along with it, or you'll lose the numbers. Then you're going to get voted out.
I guarantee you Jeremy is voting no on the right.
Yeah. Come on, surround and drown. That's the new strategy.
What about in exchange for the rice? What if they have to get a new tribe member who's Ray Rice?
What if as a penalty, so Survivor Israel, right? They did this thing where one tribe won Rupert
Yes.
if they won the reward challenge. What if that's the penalty? They have to take Rupert.
I'm back, bitches.
Is that
Yeah.
I think
That's what he says when he comes back. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the two tribes that are together now. All right, so you have the dynamics of the three couples that are together. We touched on Missy and Baylor. We touched on Dale and Kelley. Boy, what a save for John and Jacqueline to go from the two people who were really at the bottom of both of their tribes, and they come together, and they are the new hot couple.
And it's because of all the smooching, right? Like, separately, it was like the Wonder Twins. Like, separately, they're useless, but their powers combined through the magic of smooching, they can turn into anything.
Oh, my God. No concerns about the PDA with the John and Jacqueline.
And the gross thing is, and this is what those people haven't like brushed their teeth in 2 weeks. It's so nasty. Your mouth feels so disgusting when you're out there. Would you kiss Nicole after 2 weeks of not brushing your teeth, each of you?
Is it our marriage now, or like when we were like first like dating?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess whatever the John and Jacqueline equivalent is. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, have John and Jacqueline been together like a couple months? But I think you do it.
Yeah. Right.
I think you do it. I think now I brush my teeth and Nicole doesn't want to kiss me. I've just taken a shower. Like, get away from me.
Yeah.
You disgust me. So I think there's a difference between how long you've been together.
Yeah.
But the John and Jacqueline thing is kind of crazy. Do we think that John and Jacqueline are positioned well now to go far?
Yeah, it sure looks that way, right? It sure looks that right now they're like kind of the center of their little tribe. They'll probably get another tribal council out of it if they can form a real bond with Muffin and with Baylor. They could really it's like maybe that's a real alliance, right? That could happen.
Yeah.
So it's a real potential, right, for them to merge in a strong position.
Do you think that Jacqueline at all said, boy, I bet a lot of people are confused between who's me and who's Kelley at home. I better get rid of Kelley. That's going to help my airtime a lot. People will definitely know I'm the blonde that's left.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Because it's true. Yeah.
That's a good move.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, and so as far as Baylor goes, did you like when she was making fun of her mom being divorced so many times?
Yeah, I thought that was a nice moment for Baylor, a little humanizing. Sort of we can laugh at ourselves, right? She was making fun of herself too, right, for being a single while John and Jacqueline were making kissy face in the shelter.
There you go. What about on the other tribe? This is where things are pretty interesting. I wrote in my notes once Jeremy was talking about, I'm in a great position.
Oh God,
right
it's
now.
the classic Marty Piombo quote. You never want to give the Marty. Future Survivor players never, ever, ever give the Marty Piombo quote. Never say everything is going my way, because you know that you're about to be blindsided as soon as you say that. Even if you think that to yourself, as soon as it's about to pass your lips, think, why is this wrong? Who's going to screw me over right now as I'm about to utter this sentence? Because you're right. As soon as Jeremy says, I'm in a pretty sweet position, he's gone. Or he's gonna have his the tables turned.
Okay, so we have on that tribe, we have an interesting dynamic where we have Reed and Josh together. So that's one couple, and then it seems like they have the majority there because you have Jeremy and Natalie, and they have a thing going on, and you have Alec in the middle, and then you just assume, I guess, that Wes is with Josh. Is that right? Is there somebody else I'm missing on that tribe?
No, well, Alec was also in that group, right? Yeah. Alex was with Wes and Josh, like three guys from Coyopa, and then you got to assume they pull in Drew. So I'm sorry, Reed. Okay. So I mean, it's
Josh, Reed, Wes, Alec. Julie. Julie is there too, and we don't really know where Julie is at.
Well, Julie, she was on Hunapu, right? So she's presumably
no airtime whatsoever after the swap. We have no idea what she's doing.
But she was with Jeremy, right? She pretty consistently voted with Jeremy. Last episode when they voted out Drew, Julie voted with Jeremy. We saw her like when Jeremy went around on his little campaign about making alliances. They voted with Jeremy, and Jeremy has maybe Jeremy's angry still about the whole rocker thing, but Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems
no, I
unlikely.
think she's with them. I think that the alliance is, I think it's Josh, Reed, and they have Wes.
Yep.
And then it's
And
Jeremy,
Alec.
Julie, and Natalie.
Well, I
And
think
then
Alec is.
Alec is the swing vote.
I don't see that. Why isn't? Oh, they were trying to get Alec, right? They were
They were
trying to
trying
make
to get
Alec
Alec, but Alec is aligned because he was aligned with Josh and Wes at the other tribe. So he's say, hey, I'm still with these 3 guys.
Right. But yeah, they're trying to, and because he's a single now, and so that's like their point, right? It's that Natalie and Jeremy and Julie maybe's point is that be with the singles instead of the couples.
Yes.
And it's the surround and drown.
Yeah, surround and drown. So do you think that Jeremy is going to come out of this okay, or do you think that ultimately Alec will side with the people from his old tribe?
I liked Jeremy. I liked the way he was approaching it. I liked that scene where you had Natalie kind of talking to Alec, and she was like, "Oh, you got to be with us." And then you had Jeremy, and he's like, "You got heart, man. You've got so much heart." I thought that was a real good, like, subtle way to kind of, play up to Alec's ego and maybe win him over. Jeremy's a great player, right? As bad as Val was, Jeremy is good.
What's your take on Reed? I felt like on Twitter tonight I saw a lot of people really going after Reed, saying that Reed was getting a little whiny tonight.
Yeah, Reed, we have not seen much from Reed.
Whoa, hey,
yeah.
That why you ordered the Chinese food?
Yeah. Is Reed the quitter? Could that possibly be the case? I feel like who's the quitter mystery is like that from like the Pretty Little Liars, like who is whatever, Mr. A. Yeah.
Cylon.
Yeah, who could Reed be the quitter? Like, all we see about Reed is him whining. It would be such a weird thing. He's in a great position right now. Yeah, but all we see about him is him complaining.
Yeah, but you would think that having your loved one around would be like, because on Survivor you have the family visit, and
right.
What happens after the family visit? Like, I play 100 days.
Yeah.
I saw my loved one. Now the loved one is there. You have a permanent family visit now, and you think that would be a little bit of a bump, right?
I would think so.
A little bit of a bump.
Bump.
Well, actually, Steven, how about this bombshell that got dropped on us tonight? Did we know this? And I feel like this would be our top story, that Reed and Josh are not just dating Christians, but are also waiting until they're married.
Abstinent until marriage. That's crazy. Yeah.
Abstinent.
Yeah, it was a bombshell. It was a very casually dropped by Josh. Speaking of which, can we talk about this Josh winners edit situation? Josh gets more airtime than anybody else, but it's not like in an aggressive way. He's always the one commenting on things. He's always the one narrating things, and he gets a lot of this humanizing. Him and Reed walking on the beach, him talking about how Reed helped him come out and how he's now abstinent until marriage. He is the most fully fledged. Fully depicted character on the entire show. If Josh doesn't win, I'll eat some rice.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't really stake a lot on that one.
No, not really. So you're all in on Josh.
I mean, if you're not, are you not all in on Josh after tonight?
I think Josh is good. I'm not sure necessarily if I'd pick him number one, but I guess he'd be high up on the list.
Yeah.
He's good. Josh is good.
Yeah, I think Josh is the best.
Yes. I can't get over the abstinent until marriage thing.
Yeah.
I can't. That's another podcast.
They're religious, right? They're religious.
That's another podcast.
But I would like to see more from Reed. It's too bad that we don't get to see more from him. He's he's obviously an incredibly, we assume he's an interesting guy, right? He seems like an interesting guy, and it sucks that we're only getting this really one-dimensional portrait of him.
Yeah. Interesting guy indeed. So we'll see exactly where that goes. And Alec, did you like the Alec who survived Drew, or did you agree with Jeremy that he is exactly the same as his brother?
He sure seems pretty similar to his brother, right?
I don't know. I didn't get the sense that, I felt like he has a chip on his shoulder against his brother. I didn't get the sense that he was exactly the same as his brother, because Drew would have been handling things a lot differently tonight. Drew would have been like, all right, here's the plan, here's what we're doing, and that wasn't what I was getting from Alec.
No, Alec was a little bit more mellow. He definitely was a little bit more beta than Drew. What's up with all these guys, and not Alec, but Drew last week, and I'm sorry, Dale this week calling women bitches. Like,
oh yeah,
what the heck? Like,
well, I think that Dale said, well, Stephen Fishbach gave Missy a nickname. How about I'm going to give her a new nickname?
I think Muffin is empowering.
Muffin's empowering, and you're saying that self-centered bossy bitch is not? Is that what you're trying to say right now?
Yeah, Muffin is delicious. Self-centered bossy bitch is not as delicious.
Okay, well those two, I hope that they make it to day 39 together. I think Dale and Muffin all the way. I wrote on Twitter about how I was bummed out because I thought that Dale had a potential to be the new Mr. Muffin number 4, and now it looks like that is now surround and drowned.
Oh, come on. How many romantic comedies have we seen where they're at each other and then,
okay, this is the first act. Then, okay, let's write the rest of the movie. What's the thing that gets them together? They go to
Exile Island, of course,
That's also the name of the movie. Exile Island. Yeah. And they go to Exile Island together, and then they work together, and then
shelter together on Exile. They boil water, and then they fall in love. But they have to pretend that they don't love each other for the sake of their tribes.
They have to pretend.
Win the game together.
And then, and in pretending, he says, boy, Missy's a real self-centered bitch, but he's pretending, but she overhears him.
Yes, and then he overhears him saying he's a real rice nudge, and
yes, and then proposes at the finale, yada yada yada. And then they get married and they move in together, and Baylor and Kelley share a room.
I love it.
Okay.
That's a sequel.
That's the sequel. All right. So basically, Steven and I are developing movies, and of course, all of your entertainment is covered because the fall is here, and that's time for Fall TV. And that brings in our sponsor for this episode of Rob's Podcast, and those are our friends at Hulu Plus, Steven.
Fantastic.
Hey, it's getting cold out. Time to watch a lot of TV and eat Chinese food, right?
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that as soon as, when we're done podcasting, I'm going to be watching TV on Hulu Plus, eating my Chinese food.
And eating copious amounts of Chinese food.
Yeah.
Right now, Hulu Plus has the current season of your favorite shows like Sleepy Hollow, Bob's Burgers, Once Upon a Time, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Revenge, Steven. How about that?
I love it. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is great. I saw the pilot and I didn't love it, but then I've seen some more recent episodes, and it's so funny. It's such a great stride.
Well, if you're not caught up or you want to see all the episodes, catch up now on Hulu Plus because, Steven, now you've probably watched Hulu on your computer, but Hulu Plus is much more because Hulu Plus lets you watch every episode of shows like South Park, Family Guy, America's Next Top Model, and Real Housewives of many different cities.
They're all over the place. You can't escape those housewives. I told you last week, I will start something on my computer, and if I'm into it, it gets the big screen. You're going to the big screen.
You're going to Samoa.
Yeah.
So Hulu Plus works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, pretty much any streaming device you already own, and you don't even have to make a trade with Jeff Probst.
Yeah, it's also really, it's got great typographical treatment. I love their logo. It's just very clean. I know it's not
That's one of the added benefits. You get the logo as many times as you want for free.
Yeah, it's not going to influence whether or not you use the service, but it is very nice. It just, you're in a nicely designed system, and I feel like that's important. Design is important in this day and age. We live in an Apple universe. Good design is meaningful.
Yes, and so with Hulu Plus, you're in total control to stream as much as you want, much like the Hunapu tribe with their rice.
Yeah.
Just gorge yourself and binge all day long, and there'll be no repercussion.
You will never have to pay that invoice on Hulu. Well, on Hulu Plus.
Well, the invoice is just $7.99 a month, but
it's not like immunity.
It's a very manageable invoice. $7.99 a month to watch your fall shows anytime, anywhere. But the invoice will be so much less with a 2-week free trial when you go to huluplus.com/Rob, because 2 weeks are better than one, just like all these loved ones together are better than one, unless you're Dale and Kelley.
Yeah. And in which case, you don't want to.
That's no good. So go to huluplus.com/Rob, get the extra week for free, and it's great because it helps support the podcast, and you get a better deal when you go to huluplus.com/Rob for the extended free trial. huluplus.com/Rob. And you don't have to let your dad watch any of your Hulu Plus if you don't like him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to share it.
You
should not share your login. That's right. You should not be doing that.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's bring in Scott St. Pierre's questions from you guys. Steven, kick us off tonight with questions from the listeners.
All right, question number 1. Reality Outlaw, Alistair Outlaw. Your last name is really Outlaw? I hope the RHAP know-it-alls discuss Natalie's edit. Heavily featured in Strategic, but Jeremy gets all the confessionals. Sign of Doom. What do you think? Has Natalie got this, the Sign of Doom?
Are you saying that we're going to see Natalie in the finals getting no votes? Is that what we're headed towards?
That's interesting. It is interesting that, I've kind of felt like Natalie was getting a little bit of a sleeper at it. Like, she was there, she was shown being strategic, but at the same time she was not in our face in the way that maybe Jeremy is getting a little bit over edited. But I did agree that this episode especially, we didn't see Natalie as much as we did see Jeremy. It's episode 5. It's a little too. You can't make. Yeah, I mean, except for Josh, who we can confidently predict is 100% winning the game.
Or you will eat rice.
Yeah, or I'll eat rice. I think Natalie could have legs. I think she could have longevity.
Natalie would be a fantastic person to take to the final too. If you could just be sitting there next to Natalie and be like, Natalie, what were the moves that you made in this game? Not what Jeremy did. Like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I made so many big moves over the course of the game. And if you weren't so blind and so stupid, that you'd be able to see what was happening the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good. It would be good. You don't want to be
a great person to sit next to. Yeah. Yeah.
Mark's Debation 01 wants to know Jacqueline's voting confessional. There can only be one blonde. Did she say that, Steven?
I don't believe she did say that, or we didn't see it.
Put that up because he likes Highlander jokes.
Yeah, but shouldn't that be there can be only one blonde? Not there can only be one blonde. Come on, guys.
Make Highlander jokes. Scott St. Pierre will probably put your question up.
All right. Tim Marzullo wants to know, hey Rob, can you think of any other player that repeatedly got their names on ballots pre-merge but made it far in the game? The only person I can think of is Lydia, who was the target pre-merge every vote and then made it to the Final Four. Well, I can tell you Aaron Lobdell was very frequently a target pre-merge and managed to escape the vote.
Yeah, I think
his name was on the ballot, though.
I think it happens more than you think. The name that comes to mind. How about Philip Shepard?
Philip Shepard, yeah.
Yes, who actually, I believe, has gotten the most votes against him ever in a Survivor season.
Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. From his fine work in Survivor Redemption Island.
He really did rack up the votes.
He racked up the votes, and he goes to the end. So, it is not necessarily if you get a lot of votes before the merge. I mean, it doesn't help, but I don't think you can read too much into that, or Josh too much into it. Bob Allison. What do you think?
Took me a second.
What do you think of John and voting for Dale and Jacqueline? Let me take that again. What do you think of John voting for Dale and Jacqueline voting for Kelley at Tribal tonight? Why split their votes? To say they did no wrong?
What happened was all of the guys voted for Kelley and all of the girls voted for Dale. Yeah. And I think that's what, and typically when your group is making a split vote decision, it is hard to remember, like, you vote for this person, and you vote for that person, and you vote for this person. So it's easy to just say, guys vote one way, girls vote another way.
It's easier to say, okay, if you have a penis, then vote for Kelley, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then you say like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And then you look down.
Right.
Oh, okay, Kelley. Okay, that's right. Yeah. That's okay. So, because it would point at her, right?
I mean, not when you're in the voting booth. I mean, I don't know the way yours works.
Daniel's escape, Steven.
Ryan Gurr wants to know, why are John and Jacqueline siding with people who have already blindsided them this season? I want to know the same thing.
Yes, that's because they make questionable decisions. Yeah. I can't tell you why. Steven, if you were them, would you put your faith back in Baylor's hands after she voted? Now they did vote together. But they did vote together since then.
What did they?
I got the sense that Baylor and Jacqueline were on the same page. I mean, they got that by the time they voted out John Rocker, right. they were on the same page, and it was Jacqueline. It was Jacqueline and Baylor with Wes and Alec, and they were talking about when Josh was on Exile Island. They said, hey, we got to make a big move. We got to get something going. So I got the sense that Baylor and Jacqueline did have a working relationship.
Although in this episode, Baylor says to Jacqueline, we never got the chance to work together and we never really talked because I was really with the guys. I mean, you are right that like Baylor had that power play in that moment. She kind of, when they were all lying in the shelter, she was like, what if we got out rocker or whatever it was. But it's still, ultimately, it comes down to who you gel with, right? Who you are most threatened by, who you're least threatened by. For some reason, Kelley, super, super threatening.
Kelley and John's relationship might be the one that we need to go back and take a look at because,
right.
They were on the other sides of the numbers that if during the Drew Christie vote, you wonder maybe, Drew was, going after Kelley. Kelley was probably shooting back at Drew. I wonder if maybe that was the relationship where those two couldn't trust each other.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, John and John was really Drew's bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. They ate all the rice in one camp and they moved on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Kennedy Turner wants to know, would you rather be a single on a tribe of couples or a couple on a tribe of singles?
Ooh, would you rather? Okay. Would you rather be a couple on a tribe of singles or a single on a tribe of couples? I'd rather be a single on a tribe of couples.
Me too. I think it's, a single's going to look weaker. A couple's going to want to, the couples are going to want to like take out one of the other couples, and a single will sort of be able to be more of a swing vote.
Yeah, you could say, well, why are you guys going to come after me? I'm just one person.
I'm just one vote. They're two votes. Yeah.
Where the other singles would be like, oh, those two are a couple. We got to split them up.
Plus, like, you're probably going to have to vote someone else out if it's a swap, right? It's typically for two episodes, two votes. So you think, like, well, one person, we're just going to have to make this decision later. And then we're going to go into a merge with this other person from that couple angry at us, right? So from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense to vote out the couple. You take them both out instead of voting out the single and then having to vote out one member of the couple.
Yeah, because the couple gets stronger the more people you vote out of the rest of the tribe.
Yeah, and also just like the vengeance thing, the blood vengeance.
Yes, blood vengeance. Blood is blood, Stephen. Did you know that?
Blood is blood.
I heard that blood was not blood, but that is actually factually incorrect.
If you
blood is blood.
You would see from the hashtags that you were wrong.
Absolutely. Blood is indeed blood. That is confirmed. Golden ratio 16-18. Who has the upper hand between Jeremy and Josh right now? Or will their tribe get to the merge without going to tribal?
I think both of those things. Well, A, their tribe is probably going to get to the merge without going to tribal. B, Josh has the upper hand.
You think Josh has the upper hand because he has Reed with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Josh has Reed. He probably has Alec, even though we saw Jeremy like making the alliance moves. And Jeremy's a bigger target than Josh too, right? Even if Jeremy gets the numbers, he's not going to take out Josh first, is he? Josh probably would take out Jeremy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another question, Stephen, from Sarah Freeman, the great Sarah Freeman.
Sarah Freeman wants to know, can Keith and Dale school these whippersnappers and bro down to the end?
Old Guy Alliance, the Old Dogs.
Old Dogs.
The Old Dogs Alliance, the grumpy old men. Could they come together and team up against these whippersnappers? Well, it was not a good sign that they were not on the same page tonight.
They sure were not. They sure were not. There can be only one old dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you appealing to Scott St. Pierre?
Always. That's what I'm always trying to do.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe you have like the Jacqueline and Kelley thing going on between Keith and Dale.
It could be, It could be. If we were on a tribe together, would that be? Would you want there to only be one know-it-all?
No, I would not.
Yeah, that's nice. You say that now, but it's all talk.
I'm not going to say I got to get rid of Steven because I have to be the only know-it-all.
Yeah.
I would much rather get rid of people who at least don't even pretend to like me.
Yeah. Okay.
Mean.
So Steve McNamara wants to know, was the tribe swap completely random, or did the producers somehow get the buffs where they wanted them? Like perhaps a name on each wrapped-up buff, which the TV viewers were not privileged to.
Steven, what does this sound like to you?
I mean, this is beyond fan fiction. This is like conspiracy theory fiction.
I need some sort of a fan fiction drop for this show. Somebody, we need to work on that. We need to workshop that. By next week, I want to have a fan fiction drop for the Know It Alls show.
That one's a little bit out there with putting a name on the buff or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have any ideas what the fan fiction drop should sound like?
No.
Okay. All right. We'll figure that out. All right. Let's go to Delir Toncho. I'm probably not pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
Is the proper strategy for all singles to join together, or should they pair up with another single and then team up with a loved ones pair, i.e. Jeremy pairs with Natalie and joins Reed and Josh? Should two singles get together and form their own pair?
Yeah, I think it's useful for singles to get together. I think at the point where you're saying, well, should all the singles be together, or should it be two singles and one pair, or three singles and two pairs? You know, at some point it does really come down to relationships, who you gel with, who you trust, who you can work with, and it's worthwhile to be with another single if you're a single, because if you're with a pair, you will always be the odd person out in that group. But yeah, you know, I think ultimately it comes down to like who you can work with best.
Yeah, and Steven, I think that the number one most important thing that you need to do on Survivor is I think you need to find the one person, and you did such a great job with this. Find one person that you can trust implicitly.
Yeah. Yes.
And have that. And so if it's a loved one, fantastic. You don't have to worry about your loved one is going to screw you over unless you're Laura Moret. But if you can have your loved one like, okay, I know my loved one's not going to screw me over. I know I can share this with them. Or if you can find that person, if you could find your JT and say, okay, I have a 99% trust with this person where I can go back and forth, or Denise and Malcolm, or you can be that power pair. That's right. So it doesn't matter who that person is, but if you can find it, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Find Your JT is actually the title of my self-help book that I'll be releasing. So.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. All right, let's do 2 or 3 more questions.
All right. Near says, NYYRMDT wants to know, I've noticed the past couple weeks that Jeff has had some commentary during challenges dubbed in. Is that a new thing?
I don't think so. I think that's probably been around for a while. Maybe I'm not sure why it's getting called to attention more. Maybe they're using it a little bit more liberally. Maybe Jeff was having writer's block when he was out there. But no, I don't think that's new.
Yeah, I think that's always been the case. You know, he always, even with the question of when they count down, right? Like typically, the challenges in Survivor run much longer than actually are aired. So if you see a challenge that's to 3, it's probably to 7, right? So that they have more footage. So there's obviously got to be some kind of audio dubbing, that he does anyway.
Yeah. By the way, Paul Borges wants to know what your Chinese fortune cookie says.
You want me to go get it? I'll go get it.
Go get it. I'll read the next question. Yeah. Okay, this is from Anna Paula. Wants to say, remember when survivors ate rats and bats? Now they run and beg Jeff Probst for white rice. Chickens. Now, is that white rice and they are chickens, or white rice and chickens? The fact that the survivors are able to go and ask Jeff Probst, like, I'm surprised that Jeff Probst's response to them wasn't, so how's the fishing going? Have you guys been out there to fish at all, instead of just begging me for food like some sort of welfare state, Steven?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, what is going to happen in future seasons now, where is everyone going to be just making deals all the time? Is this whole show going to evolve? All right, I got the fortune cookie. This is artisanal Williamsburg, gluten-free, locally grown fortune cookie.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it says, your fortune is not something to find, but to unfold. Okay.
There you go.
There it is.
All right. That wasn't worth the hype. So much for artisanal fortune.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 2 more questions. Okay.
Life by Char wants to know, do you think that Probst's trade will be voting out one person from Blue Tribe and putting them on Orange?
No, I think it will be voting one person out and putting them on Ponderosa.
I think so too. Yeah. I think that's a reasonable trade.
All right, let's do one last question from Ahmed. Ahmed says, Kelley and Dale didn't seem to care about Keith. Do you think if they allied with him, they could have voted Baylor out? Well, I'm no Brad Culpepper here, Steven, but I believe 3 into 7 equals out.
Well, if they had swayed Keith's vote, though, right? Because the guys voted for Kelley, the girls voted for Dale, meaning that there's.
Yeah, but I think they did that.
I agree with you. But I'm saying I totally agree. Like, they wouldn't have done that unless they were sure they had Keith, but they could have done a switcheroo. Now, that switcheroo would have been a terrible decision for Keith because he would have pissed off 3 people, left in the tribe and made allies of 2. So he would have been a very natural next vote. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see ultimately what ends up happening. I feel like as much as I love Dale, aka Farm Guy 69, I think he's fun. I think that he was too bitter to not try to mend fences. That the whole rice thing was a bad look for him.
Yeah.
And I think that you got to try to get along with everybody. And he was too get off my lawn with the rice.
Yeah, totally agree. Don't get off my lawn.
Yeah, don't draw a line in the sand on day 12.
No lines in the sand. Unless you are coach and you're wooing over Cochran, no lines in the sand.
Yes, unless you're saying, come to my line on this side of the sand.
Right. If you're inviting someone over to your side of the line, that's fine. But if you're pushing people to the other side of the line, that's not okay.
Yeah, don't fight over stupid stuff on Survivor and then piss people off so that they want to vote you out.
Don't fight over spilled rice or piss in the rice.
Yes. Yeah. Or dump the rice or anything with rice. Only just eat as much rice as you can without making people mad.
It is dangerous, though, right? That very well could have gone the other way. If everyone was like, "Oh my God, look how much rice Missy's eating. Let's vote her out."
You know what? If people have a reason to, they'll come up with anything.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen Fishbach, who is going to get your coveted Fishy Award tomorrow?
Tell me. I don't know. I'm thinking there's a few options, right? We got John and Jacqueline as a pair. They've gone from the bottom of their respective tribes to the top of their new tribe. We got Jeremy, who, even though he went from the top to the bottom of his tribe, is now really hustling to make magic happen. And we got Josh, who's just perfect.
Josh didn't do anything.
He's perfect, though. Yeah.
Boy, Steven, it sounds like you're trying to woo Josh away.
I mean, the New Yorkers, we gotta stick together. We bleed New York. We bleed the parties we bleed wine and cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna wait, right?
What? Oh.
You might be. That's an appealing offer, Steven.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think? Who should I give it to?
I think that you got to give it to somebody from the tribe. How about Keith?
Keith, sort of, but what did Keith do? Keith did nothing. He just happened to not get in their crosshairs. I mean, that's something. That's something. For sure.
That's something. He played it well. He's in the majority. He's not going out.
Yeah.
I think you got to give it to him, or you got to look at Muffin or Baylor.
But Muffin was very confrontational.
Maybe it's Baylor.
Maybe it's John and Jacqueline who are in the center.
I think they did the wrong thing.
They did the wrong thing, but they did it. The wrong decision is better than no decision at all, according to Roger Ailes.
Okay, so we'll see. We'll see. Text or tweet Stephen Fishbach on Twitter. Let him know who you think should get the coveted Fishy Award at Stephen Fishbach. I'm at Rob Cesternino. Again, big show coming up tomorrow. Of course, we'll speak with Kelley tomorrow morning on our exit interview, and then I'll speak with Coach, and then we'll give it up for Mike Bloom. Yes, and we'll do that all. Get your voicemails in for my conversation with Mike. robhasawebsite.com/voicemail or 323-282-RHAP. And we'll start to reveal some of the details coming up for what we're planning on, Stephen, for the 1,000th episode of Rob Has a Podcast coming up in the corner.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This is episode 988.
Oh, my gosh. 12 more. That's nuts.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Can you say anything?
No, I'll talk about it tomorrow on the Survivor podcast. So we'll talk about that a little bit there where we have some more time. Anyway, Stephen, enjoy your Chinese food tonight.
Thank you very much. And I'll be eating this fortune cookie.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much. We definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments, both on YouTube and on robhasawebsite.com. Make sure you subscribe to Rob Has a Podcast, robhasawebsite.com/iTunes for our main podcast feed. By the way, Rob Has a Podcast featured in iTunes podcasts right now. How about that?
It's crazy. So all of these people come into iTunes just saying your face, just your lovely face. Yeah.
And then are probably hitting X right away once the comes across the slider. Get that off of my screen. All right, Stephen, enjoy your dinner. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.